correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.
VorpalNetwork.com.
Picking up what the power source puts down. This is No Dice. Howdy there, Gamer Nation. Drop your weapons, because it's time for No Dice. Alright, this is a brand new segment for the Power Source, which is the regular podcast that I do. My name is Jared Glenn, and I am the host of the Power Source and the pseudo-host of No Dice. I run the games, at least in this first game session, I run the game. So, I just wanted to, let's introduce a little bit of what's going on the 19th of June in the 2010th year AD. I got to sit in front of my computer at the same time as some other very distinguished and wonderful people involved in podcasting and who love role-playing at least as much as I do. And we had just a great time. What we did was we broke out this adventure that I've written for the upcoming Allurian Game Day, which I'm very excited about, and we play tested it to make sure that it was an intriguing and fun game. And I believe we all had a great time. I know I did. Now, they'll introduce themselves once we actually go into the podcast proper, but just so you know who they are, so you can start thinking about their names. Dustin Glenn, my brother, who's been on the Power Source a couple times. GM Chris, one of the hosts from the Order 66 podcast. Jared Baker, who's also known as Ted and will be called Ted throughout the podcast, so just kind of make that connection. We call him Ted for the obvious reason that my name is also Jared. Jeff Greiner, who is the Tome host, and he runs the Temporary Hit Points blog, and he's awesome. We also have Ryven Cedrylle, who makes the Aberrant Rules segment on the Power Source podcast, and he also writes on the At Will blog. He's been a guest host on the Power Source a number of times. And then, of course, there's me, the DM. So, all right, so that's pretty much what's going on. I think you can pretty much figure it out along with the rest of the players as we go through the adventure. The great thing about this particular podcast and this adventure is that it is available for download. Coming up on the 31st of July, we are doing the Allurian Game Day. And it is available for everyone, not just gaming stores, not just people who go to conventions. The purpose of this game day is to give everyone the chance to kind of make an adventure that everybody has some shared experience with and has a great time kind of sharing stories back and forth and how they handled certain encounters and certain NPCs. So I certainly hope that you enjoy yourself. And I'm going to hand it off to Ryven Cedrylle, who manages the very first part of this first podcast. Take it away, Ryven.
What's up, guys? What is up, GM Chris? It is good to be here. It is Saturday, June 19th, 2010. In case you're listening from, 2012, or if you're really good, maybe 2008, and you somehow managed to, get 2 years into the future, you're awesome. We are here. We've got myself. Hopefully, most of you recognize me if you're listening to Power Source by now. My name is Ryven Cedrylle, humble contributor and occasional co-host. We have some really, really awesome guests today. First off, Ted. How you doing, Ted?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Glad to hear.
How are you?
I'm here, I'm alive, and I'm ready to play some D&D. And I sound a lot like Jared. I think it's because I just went ahead and listened to episode 32 right before I came here. So I'm just totally trying to run off the beginning of the show. It's pretty crazy. We've also got Dustin Glenn. Good, Dustin, say hi. How's it going, man?
Hi, everyone.
Cool. And
a
couple of surprise guests. One of them was just on the Power Source not too long ago from the Tome Show. Also, two towns over from me, Jeff Greiner of the Tome Show. Say hi, Jeff.
Woo! I'm here. Hi.
We had some technical problems getting Jeff in today, but we got him up. He's ready to go. And, of course, drum roll for the other special guest of honor, It is GM Chris of Order 66. What is up, GM Chris?
Don't associate the word honor with me. That's a misnomer. I don't like it. So anyway, what's up, Gamer Nation? I'm happy to be here. I'm actually really excited. I don't really play RPGs, so this is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to this.
Cool. Well, we're very glad to have you here. We're glad to have all of you here. At 1 o'clock on a Saturday, at least Eastern time. For those of you who are in other time zones, you'll just subtract appropriately. But it's hard to get people together on this time on a Saturday, so we're very hyped to get this going at such a weird time. This is the playtest of Jared Glenn's Illyria Games Worldwide Game Day, which will be occurring at this moment. We don't know exactly when it is, but sometime in the near future, about a month or so. Jared will be running the game. And we'll introduce our characters real quick. I am playing Step Drayton, the Entobian Explorer. Entobians are like little pint-sized insect creatures, presumably with hard exoskeletons and the ability to shoot webbing. So I'm kind of a cross between Indiana Jones and Spider-Man, which is really freaking awesome. I'm just going to say that right now. And I'm going to choose arbitrarily, which arbitrarily means Ted. Tell us about your character, Ted.
Since we're picking arbitrarily, I am Sir Walden. Sir Walden, the Zax Knight. Kind of a defender, I guess. All these hit points. I feel
I think that's right. The Explorer is the controller, but I think you guys all know that by now. And you'll notice we haven't introduced Jared yet. We'll do that at the end. He's just the DM, whatever. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Dustin, what you got, man?
I am a Woodsong Oakling Jester. Well, actually, my name is Woodsong, and I am an Oakling Jester. It's like a tree, and I'm pretty much awesome. I'm a controller.
So you're an Oakling?
Yeah, I'm like a
tree. Can you go like Bura Room or Does anyone else get that reference?
Yes, sorry. We get the reference.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm just saying.
I can talk to trees and plants. I can find out if they're healthy or not. That's about it.
It's an interesting
Plus,
power.
they don't have a lot to talk about, but they can, I don't know, maybe tell me if somebody passed through an area. So we'll see how useful it comes in the game.
So you're the bane of Emerald Ash borers everywhere.
Pretty much.
Awesome.
And my catchphrase for this is, if you cannot think logically, I'll just have to think for you.
I think I want a jester thinking for me. It's a little creepy. All right. Thank you, Dustin. Let's go to Chris.
I am playing Pazla, and she is a Muse true namer. And Muses are these, they're creatures that come from the plane of dream. They're like very across the fish angel. Fish angel. They're a cross between an angel and a fish, pretty much. So they have kind of this ethereal aura about them. And Pazla is a Muse true namer, and I jumped on this because I love the true naming from 30, and I think just reading through the powers this character has, I'm like, oh, this is great. And I guess she's what, Jared? A controller, leader?
A leader with minor in control, yeah.
Yeah, so, excellent. And, of course, her tagline, the rules of the universe are simple. Create nothing, destroy nothing. Though we're somewhat vague on transferring things. And that's pretty much the synopsis of the class, from what I can tell. So, I like it. And, guys, I've only played, I am the 4-8 here. I've only played 4-8 about half a dozen times, so go easy on me, please. In the presence of such greatness, I am awed.
Not sure who you're talking about exactly, but thank you, I guess.
I'm talking about Jeff.
Yes. Okay. Actually, very good point.
I'm pretty awesome.
Jeff is pretty
I'm
awesome.
incredible.
Jeff, I'm gonna pray you have a striker, because so far we've got like 2 controllers and a leader and maybe a defender. So if we don't have someone who can deal the damage, we're gonna be in some big trouble. Tell me you have a striker.
I do believe I have a striker.
That's good.
I'm playing Nyx the Inevitable, and Nyx is an Ursine Animus Vigilante. The Animus race is basically, I used to be an animal companion to some legendary hero, and I reached the end of my my story, but apparently it wasn't quite done yet. So I came back, and when the Animus come back, they come back as humans with animal heads. So I am a human with a bear head.
Now, which one is your class? The Vigilante or the Inevitable? Because last time the Inevitables were like, didn't they come from like the realm of Nirvana or Machinus or something? And they tracked down. Come on, help me out with this. With the
They tracked down all kinds of things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The Inevitable is part of my name.
Oh, okay.
Taken from my former. Vigilante is my class, and the Vigilante seems to be all about saying, no, you don't go anywhere, and when you don't go anywhere, I'm going to do some extra damage to you.
Nice.
So it's about grabbing people and immobilizing people and what have you.
Cool. Any other comments you guys want to make before we get started? Like I said, we are playing over map tools. Most of us are using just our physical dice. You'll occasionally hear a little bidding, which is going to be me using my powers because I'm making up the character sheet here on the map tools. Deviant Null 4.3 framework. Shout out to all you guys over on the map tools forum.
I just want to say this is sweet.
Oh, no, you're great.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, like as far as map tools goes, the last time I was present when map tools was used, it was a much earlier version, and this is sick. This is amazing. Just the macros with character sheets, it's incredible.
All right.
Big props.
So, with no further ado, let's finally bring out the man who's put this whole thing together and is running it and wrote all these wonderful classes for us to play around with. The host of the Power Source podcast, Jared Glenn. How's it going, Jared Glenn?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to see how you guys break my classes, destroy my monsters, and basically make the races your own. So this is exciting. We get to kind of see how this campaign setting works too. It's going to be exciting. So I'm so excited, as they say. So
cool. All right, I'm going to shut the heck up now. So go for it.
All right, let me tell you guys. Let me tell you a little bit about the world, in case you don't got anything about it. Basically, a couple hundred years ago. So this is the campaign setting of Illyria. And a couple hundred years ago, some arcanists who were called chronomancers, they decided, well, they've been traveling through time for a long time, and they totally screwed up the timeline. So now what we've got is one world that has been basically split along its axis like 500 times. In other words, there's every version of time is now accessible from every other version of time. And you can get there through something called the Gray Mists, which are the kind of leftover vestiges of this awful time when the Gray Mist was pouring across the land, and it's kind of a destructive force in the world. Once you enter them, it's very hard to get back to your home reality ever again. So they're really frightening. They're kept at bay. The Gray Mists are kept at bay by these huge monoliths that circle them. It was something that was only discovered about 100 years ago. People were very afraid of these Gray Mists for a long time. So I think that about covers what you need to know. And you are in one of the most stable realities called Illyria, which is the main world. So let's go ahead and get you guys into this adventure. So as we start, we're going to be on the outskirts of a town called Taunitoe. The cobblestone road you have been traveling down finally climbs a rise, and just below, you see the hamlet of Taunitoe. A few people gather outside in a small market, and a number of people are working in small farms along the border of a dense forest. The morning air is cool, and the sky is overcast, making the journey an easy one. But further in the distance, you notice a sight that gives you goosebumps. A lake lies just to the north of Taunitoe, and toward the center of it, the world seems to end. The gray mists hug the surface of the lake and writhe on the border of a line held by monolithic structures on small islands. Blue lightning flickers in the mist from time to time, and you can see every once in a while an enormous shadow that seems to skulk past. As you approach, you notice that the myriad of Illyria's races all seem to be represented here. As a border town, many of these people are probably refugees from other realities, and most seem to enjoy this town. There is, however, a strange feeling of foreboding in the air, as people inevitably look behind them from time to time. A few people seem excited by your arrival, but a majority seem to have been raised to initially mistrust outsiders and whisper behind their hands as you enter town. A humanoid built of stone and crystal with no head and a face on its torso approaches you. The relic holds a mace in one hand, but lets it hang peacefully at its side. It speaks with a deep voice too quick for its cumbersome body. I have heard the king was sending help. Are you it?
Aye. Yes, we are in fact the help.
Excellent.
Indeed.
I sigh disdainfully.
I'm happy to see that you have come to Taunitoe. We are having quite a few troubles.
Troubles of what
Indeed.
nature?
Well, I really ought to bring you to the mayor before I explain too much. But, a few people disappear, and you just don't, worry about it much. People come and go, But when they show up dead, you start to worry, especially if you're made of flesh. Yeah. Since most people in this town have more flesh than stone, it's been a hard time getting people to calm down.
Do you have any suspects yet?
I know everybody in town. These are good people, by and large. There's a few strange things with the victims. For instance, they all seem to be found near the temple in town, the Temple of Dyrup. But I've said too much. I need to bring you to the mayor. I'm supposed to do that whenever people come into town. I am the captain of the guard, after all,
Hey, Jared, out of character, who's Dyra? Can we get what's the information on Dyra?
I was going to ask.
Dyrup is a actually let's get a religion check and see how much I can tell you.
Okay.
I can initially tell you that it is a local god.
Jared, I've got a 32.
Oh wow! See, that is awesome. So I can tell you all kinds of awesome stuff.
He knows everything.
But I think but pretty much ask me as you have questions about Dyrup. But let me tell you, it is a god of protection, and it is most prevalent in the areas directly around the gray mists. And it is Dyrup is Dyrup is interesting because this god does not have a gender, and actually is it's a rather new god. It's only been around for maybe 50 years that people have been worshiping it, and before that did not exist in any form, which people have to wonder, is this the repurposing of an old god or a brand new god, maybe a mortal that's transcended somehow?
I'm not a big fan of these new age gods.
Tell me about it. Also, I have to warn you guys about the mayor, Gyaru. He's kind of, he's my brother-in-law.
So your wife has bad taste, sister? What is your...
My husband, actually.
Your husband...
My husband, Gyaru was always kind of the black sheep of the family, I'll just put it that way.
And ended up becoming the mayor?
Well, we all can't follow high paths, of education and art. We sometimes must stoop to public service, yes.
So are you from here?
Me? Oh, heavens, no. I'm from Stormspeak, a more cultural area, to say the least.
Steph kind of looks at you funny when you talk about about stooping to public service. He says, "Public service is a much needed and vital part of the infrastructure where we come. Our hives hold public service in the highest esteem. Also, we do not quite understand your relation, your marriage. We do not have these things."
Yes.
I agree with my insect friend here. It does seem necessary to have public leaders to guide the masses in action.
Oh, yes, necessary, of course. It's just my brother, we expected more of Gyaru. That's all. He's a fine individual. Yes.
We shall see for ourselves.
The relic stands there uncomfortably listening to all of this, and he says, "So, you want to go see him?"
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay, hold on, just one sec. He reaches down and picks up a small piece of quartz that seems to have fallen off of him onto the ground, and he readjusts it into his stony body, and you see the rock on the outside of his body visibly adjust itself so that it is stronger. He says, "Oh, okay. Sorry, I've fallen apart at the seams. If you'll follow me."
Lead the way.
As fast as the tree can follow.
I'm last.
He says, my name is Maluki, by the way.
Greetings, Maluki.
It is good to meet you.
I am Woodstock of the Oakling trees and stuff.
Yeah, met plenty of wood people. What'd you call yourself again?
Woodies.
Right. There's lots of those around here. Good people. Don't keep with the natural world. Those infringing,
Fleshies.
Yeah. The townsfolk move aside as Maluki leads you to the town hall, relieved that you seem to have come in peace. The building resembles an old church building with a tall steeple and stained glass windows featuring the holy symbol of Dairup, of local god of protection, which you already know. Maluki pushes the door open and holds it while you enter. The inside has been reworked much further to fit the function of a town hall. One section has been set apart as a court, and another as a clerk-like area. Finally, toward the back, the office of the mayor is set up with where the pulpit once would have been. Standing just over 7 feet tall, the mayor is handsome, even for a muse. His soft face is etched with worry as you approach, but the look fades when he looks up to see you, to see armed adventurers. So he looks excited to see you. Maluki walks
I sigh
in.
and step forward. Brother, it's so good to see you.
He stands up, and he actually seems genuinely happy to see you. Ah, yes. Ah, so good to see you, Pazla. I'm so glad you came. Troubles everywhere. And he walks over to give you a hug.
I step up and I give him a hug very reluctantly and say, my husband misses you immensely.
I'm very, very happy to hear that. I've been meaning to set up a trip, but things are busy here.
Yes, well, you wouldn't have time for us, would you? Your busy job being mayor and all. But that's not important. Tell us, Yeru, what is going on? How can we help?
Oh, well, I'd be happy to tell you. Are these your companions?
Yes, good friends. All.
Yes.
Please, friends, introduce yourselves.
I am Sir Walden.
Sir Walden? Knighted by the king, perhaps?
Yes, indeed.
Fantastic. We're happy to have you, Sir Walden.
I am the step of the Visitant Hive.
I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm happy to have you as well. Although I wish you would have brought a bigger weapon.
You will see that even the smallest stinger can leave the most important and lasting mark.
I trust you.
I am Woodsong from the forest.
Ah, yes.
He's terribly mysterious.
The forest.
Nix has had a tendency to hang out in the back and try not to be too noticeable and just sort of grunts and growls every now and then. When the attention comes to him, he just sort of grunts and, I'm the inevitable.
He looks aghast at you when you say that, and he says, the inevitable? That, he looks over at Maluki and says, when did he come into town?
I am now.
Ah, but you are not always so.
Despite what you might have heard, the old inevitable is no more.
Yes, we have heard that. Unfortunately, his spirit seems to be plaguing us, or at least that's what the townspeople say.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
About what's going on here in town. A few weeks ago, they just started disappearing. At first, we hoped that they had merely been captured, but bodies have begun to turn up. Some are beaten as if they were tortured before they were killed, but some only have a clean cut across the neck. I have no idea why this is going on, but there's certainly danger living here in Taunitoe so close to the mists, but it's been pretty consistent. There's something hunting us.
Yes. I understand the mark of prey and predators, and this appears to be a predator at work here.
I agree.
Tell us, brother. Tell us, what have your healers or scouts ascertained about the wounds? Have there been any tracks, anything of note?
No tracks. They've been very thorough. Well, there have been tracks, but they've been nothing different than the rest of our town. No animal tracks. They all look very humanoid. I don't know what to think about it.
May I inquire as to ask just one question? Do you think maybe you have angered the god of this sacred ground? Perhaps he is acting in order to gain more respect from the people here?
Oh, you mean because this used to be a temple to Dyrup?
Yes.
Well, we've paid for a rather luxurious temple toward the center of town for Dyrup. It's new. All of the priests have been moved there. They were going to build the temple anyway, but we helped out, and they gave us this area for our town hall. If Dyrup is interested in being vengeful, I suppose it could be upset with us, but I've given it no reason to be upset with us. And he makes a holy like a gesture with his hands that you recognize as a way of worshiping Dyrup on the spot and begging for maybe for forgiveness.
So out of character, Jared, he seems like he's a pious guy. I mean, he in some respect, even if it's only for his public office, he definitely expresses interest in Dyrup. Okay, brother, I have a difficult question for you.
Yes.
I understand the people in this town are close to you, but considering what I've heard, and perhaps my companions can shed their own insight on the matter, do you suspect anyone in town of possibly perpetrating these crimes?
In my town? Taunitoe is one of the most fantastic regions in this entire kingdom. The people here are here because they want to be here. They're refugees from their own realities. We provide them with a place to stay. I doubt that any of them would turn against us now. If I were to guess what was going on, there's certainly some hostilities going on with nature in the immediate vicinity. If you've heard about them inside of the kingdom, those hostilities struck here first, and we're well aware that they have their eyes on taking Taunitoe. The townspeople, they're spending quite a bit of time talking about strange things in town. They discuss what they describe as a handsome man staying up in the graveyard outside of town. He warns folks to stay away, but I can't help but think that it must be a Fae spy. Perhaps the Fae are encroaching upon us.
And there has been, we talked about this, there's been no pattern in the people who were killed. No one's asked that question yet, right?
Somebody has,
victims?
actually.
Okay.
Maluki brought up the fact that they all seem to be found near the temple to Dyrup.
But the actual victims themselves. No one has asked if they're all wealthy. They were all.
No, nobody's asked that yet.
Okay, I'm going. Okay, so Steph will ask: has there been any similarities in the victims' race, money, and affiliations with various guilds?
I would not say that they are similar in their state. I would say that those who are least connected to this town are those who have perished first, those who are most likely to leave. It started with those who have only recently joined the town, those who meant to live here but did not have any friends or ties to speak of. Also those who travel most recently. When they returned, they were swiftly destroyed.
Any of them come to town together?
A number of them, a few families, but some that come from completely different realities.
Any troublemakers in the bunch?
Plenty. But we're all troublemakers when we first show up. He looks over at Posla when he says that and smiles.
Yes.
Disposing of outsiders creates bodies without suspicion. No one will miss them. I doubt the victims were chosen with any sort of pattern or kind of trails off. He kind of lost his wording.
Yeru looks at him a little confusedly, but then gives his attention to Woodsong, who seems to be trying to speak.
Okay. The Woodsong finally gets a chance to speak. Just kidding. Woodsong says, I have detected much unrest in the natural world around this area. Perhaps the Fae is attacking your wonderful city, Yoru.
That's personally what I would have to guess. The oncoming war with nature. I do not relish the thought of what will happen to our small town when that begins. Maluki looks a little uncomfortable at this, as if he wishes he could say something, but he keeps his mouth shut.
My character is going to turn around and I'm like, my friend Maluki, you must also detect this unrest, for you are of the natural world as much as I am.
I must disagree. The Fae are indeed a threat, but they're not the ones who are doing this. The deaths are found in town, Yoru. If we assume that these deaths come from outside, perhaps that's what the killer wants. Yoru looks at him a little flustered and says, Maluki, we've been through this. There is not a person in this town who would hurt any other person inside of it. He turns his attention back to his sister-in-law.
Good brother, I must agree with our stony companion here. The proximity of the victims to the temple of what was it, Darya?
Dyrup. Think
Thank you.
syrup.
I'm writing that down. Dyrup, yes. But the proximity of the victims to the temple, there must be meaning in that.
Happenstance. It's a small town. He looks at Maluki.
Could there, connection between these deaths and the Grey Mist?
Well, there's always a connection between the deaths and the Grey Mist, nowadays.
The king sent me here to find a beast that has come from the Grey Mist. I wonder if it is not one and the same problem.
If indeed it has come from the Grey Mists, I would not be surprised if it were Fae from another realm. It could very easily be something from the Grey Mists.
I agree with our knight friend here that if a creature did come from another reality or another time from the Fae realm, it could also throw off the balance in this area.
I disagree. The deaths are found by the temple, which is the main symbol of the city, and the victims are all outsiders. Sounds like a vigilante inside the town attempting to dispense his own personal brand of justice.
The mayor looks behind him at the huge stack of papers and looks over at Maluki and says, if you wouldn't mind showing them out. He looks over at you and says, I would appreciate it if you would take care of whatever is killing our citizens here. I trust you to do the right thing. I will pay you 1,000 gold pieces if you return with the answer to this mystery and put an end to it. But for now, I must return to my work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, brother. I quickly reach up and I grasp him again. I kiss him on each cheek. Then ask one final question. The victims, have they all been properly interred, or I know this is a grisly request, might we examine the bodies?
You could examine the bodies. They've already been buried. I believe there is one that was found this morning. Is that right, Maluki? Maluki looks over at the mayor and says, "Yes, this is one we do not know." And then the mayor says, "The rest of them can be found up at the graveyard. Perhaps while you're there, you can confront the handsome man that the townspeople speak of."
Thank you, brother.
He returns and sits at his desk. Certainly, Pazla. I look forward to your triumphant return.
I leave the room before he's even finished saying that.
Okay.
I follow.
All right, you
Nick
guys...
is pretty quick to step out, but as soon as we get out, he hangs out by the front door and waits for Maluki to come out because he's got another question or two he wants to ask.
Yeah, I want to talk to this guy hard. No pun intended.
All right, and that'll be it for this week. Join us next time as the PCs kind of evaluate their situation and move on from there to discover what's going on in the town of Taunitoe. If this kind of piqued your interest at all, or if you're interested in picking up the adventure and looking at the character classes that our heroes are playing, you can go to www.powersourcepodcast.com, and up there along the top banner, you will see the notation for Allurian Game Day 2010. You're going to click on that link and just scroll down a little bit, and you've got download Allurian Game Day packet. So go ahead and pick that up there and take it down to your local gaming store and ask them if you can run it there on the 31st of July. It's going to be a great experience for a lot of people to enjoy together and just have a great time. So we really appreciate you listening to this podcast. And remember, when it comes to good role-playing, luck has got nothing to do with it.